My husband said, "Your parents, your problem." I cut off his family's $2,500 month, 30 days later. For 7 years, I believed marriage was a partnership where you carried each other's burdens without keeping score. My husband, Mark, and I both worked high-paying corporate jobs. Together, we built a very comfortable life. But while we earned equally, our family responsibilities were vastly different. Early in our marriage, Mark's parents fell into severe financial distress due to some terrible business decisions. Mark was devastated, and without a second thought, I agreed to help them. Every single month, $2,500 was automatically transferred from our joint account to his parents to cover their mortgage, medical insurance, and lifestyle. It was a massive chunk of money, but I loved Mark, so his family was my family. For 7 years, I never complained. I never held it over his head. It was just what we did. Then, life threw a curveball at my own family. My father suffered a severe stroke, requiring long-term rehabilitation, and my mother had to leave her job to become his full-time caregiver. Suddenly, they were drowning in medical bills. I was heartbroken and stressed to my absolute limit. One evening, I sat down with Mark at the kitchen table. I opened our budget spreadsheet and gently explained the situation. I told him I needed to send $1,500 a month to my parents for the next few months to cover my dad's physical therapy. I expected comfort, or at least a supportive nod. Instead, Mark's face hardened. He closed the laptop, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "We can't afford that. Your parents didn't plan well for retirement, and frankly, Sarah, your parents, your problem. I don't want our hard-earned savings going toward their mistakes." I sat there, utterly paralyzed. I felt like the wind had been knocked out of me. I reminded him, my voice trembling, about the $2,500 a month we had been sending to his parents for nearly a decade, totaling over $200,000 of our shared income. Mark shrugged coldly and said, "That's different. That's an established family obligation. Your parents are your responsibility. Figure it out on your own." That night, I didn't sleep. The man I loved had just drawn a clear, undeniable line in the sand. He had effectively told me that what's mine is ours, but what's his is his. If my parents were my problem, then his parents were officially his problem. The next morning, I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I quietly walked into my office, logged into our joint bank account, and canceled the recurring $2,500 monthly transfer to my in-laws. I then moved my direct deposit out of our joint account and into a brand new, private account under my name only. From that new account, I set up a $2,000 monthly transfer to my mother for my dad's medical care. I paid my exact half of our mortgage and household utilities into the joint account, leaving Mark to handle the rest. Then, I waited. Exactly 30 days later, the storm hit. I was cooking dinner when Mark burst through the front door, his face bright red, holding his phone. His mother had just called him in a complete panic because their mortgage payment had bounced, and their health insurance was about to be cancelled due to non-payment. "Sarah, what the hell happened to the transfer to my parents?" Mark shouted, slamming his keys on the counter. "Why did it fail?" I stirred the pasta sauce, completely calm, and turned around. "Oh, I cancelled it a month ago," I said evenly. "Are you insane?" he yelled. "They rely on that money. They can't survive without it. Why would you do that without talking to me?" I leaned against the counter, crossed my arms, and looked him straight in the eye. "Because, Mark, 30 days ago, you made the rules very clear. You told me that parents are an individual responsibility. You said, your parents, your problem. So, I took your advice. I am taking care of my parents with my income. And your parents, well, they are your problem now." Mark gasped, looking at me as if he were seeing a stranger. "But I don't have $2,500 a month to give them on my own." He stuttered, the reality finally crashing down on him. "My personal account doesn't have that kind of surplus after paying my half of our bills." "Then I guess you'll have to figure it out on your own," I replied, echoing his exact words back to him. "Maybe they should have planned better for retirement. Isn't that what you told me?" He spent the next 2 hours begging, raging, and trying to guilt-trip me. He called me selfish, cruel, and vindictive. But I stood like a rock. The hypocrisy was glaring, and for the first time in our marriage, he had no power over me. It has been a few weeks since that confrontation. Mark had to take out a personal loan just to cover his parents' immediate expenses, and he is currently looking for a second job or a higher-paying position to sustain them. The atmosphere in our house is ice cold. He realizes now that by trying to cut off my parents, he completely ruined the financial security of his own. I don't know if our marriage will survive this, but as I sit by my father's hospital bed, knowing his therapy is fully paid for by my own hard work, I know I made the right choice. If a partner cannot stand by you during your darkest family moments, they don't deserve to share your brightest days.